All right, welcome back to Dr. Kale's Guides. Today we're going to be going over Blackrock Depths. Very good place for power leveling, as well as it is pretty good on the gold side of it as well. What makes this place so good is the amount of mobs and the size of the dungeon. It is a very massive dungeon, and we're gonna be sticking to technically the front half and get a little into the back part, but we're staying always close enough for a quick reset. Now, prior to doing this type of boosting or during your first run, you're going to want to pick up the Shadowforge Key. It'll require you to die and then go into the center part there. If you've played Classic, you're well aware of what the Shadowforge Key is. But you're going to need to pick this up in order to make the runs a little quicker, in order to cut through some of the doors for some of the other pulls I'll be discussing. Now, one of the biggest advocates for Blackrock Depths is the time it's going to take to run it. You can do as big of pulls as you want. You can split it up into sections like I do. I don't really think there was much stopping me from pulling hundreds and hundreds of mobs. It's just occasionally, if I was caught on a bad cooldown, I would just stop and kill all the mobs. And honestly, after watching beta, make sure you guys bring a few shields here or repair bots, because you're going to be tanking a lot of mobs and you're going to be going through shield durability really quickly. But with that being said, let's kick off with our first pull, as I call the entry room or the entry pull. I'm pretty much going to go and do this entire pull. I pull the whole front room here. You got to pretty much use freedom on cooldown. And then I go down the hallway. I kind of go around where the first boss would be. And if you've played Wrath the Lich King, where you do Dungeon Finder, this is jail runs, as they call it. But I'm pretty much going to run around the whole jail part and end up pulling the final, or the first boss of the dungeon. Pulling bosses, remember, is going to either net you a large brilliant shard, or it's just going to be a higher value for vendoring a blue from a boss. So pretty much through this pull, I'm going to bubble here and top off, saving my trinket for when I go to kill. Come out of bubble, I hit freedom, keep pulling. You just kind of keep zigzagging. When you do get rooted, make sure you turn towards the mobs and don't ass tank them. That'll just greatly reduce the damage you take. And the only thing that ends up being wrong here is I'm about to die and I need to use my trinket to kill, so I do end up skipping two of those rooms. I pull the boss and I hit the trinket, and then here I go to kill everything. And then that finishes up this first pull, and you can see the amount of damage you do with the Sporgar shield. It's pretty crazy. Now, the one thing that you'd have to keep in mind is if you're going to do a pull like this, your people you're boosting, if you are, they are going to need to kind of follow up to the outside of this room by going down the hallway you cleared and not down the room that we just came in, because I forgot to clear the side rooms. And if they come in, they're just going to aggro those and end up dying. Just remember, while killing this pull, there are a lot of non-elite dogs, and that's where you'll get a little separation of experience between elites and non-elites. With this next pull, I go around the Ring of Law, which is called the Halls of Law, and I avoid Rockor, the rock elemental boss. He does a stun, and getting stunned with this many mobs on you is a death sentence, so I pretty much just don't pull him in this hallway. If you want to go back and kill him by himself, by all means you can, but other than that, I kind of just skip him because I'm going to end up doing such a large pull. And you can see each one of these little areas I break this down into is a lot of fucking mobs, and it's just going to be really good experience. Your boosties can sit out in this room wherever they want, just kind of out of the way so they don't get targeted or in combat or anything. And then the only thing you have to do is, because these fire elementals are casters, you need to bring the pack back on top of the fire elementals in order for them just to be AoE'd down. The one thing I'm looking forward to doing with BRD is, when I am doing boosting, which might be very popular here, is this might be something where I charge a higher gold per run, just because on how many mobs are going to be killing. And now this next run I call the Shadowforge door room. It's where you would hit the lever that opens up the door. And you can see I just pull everything in this room. You can include the the Ring of Law audience. I just have that in a separate little section on this video. But again, I kind of come over here before I go to the other side here. I just AoE everything down at this point. And if you've watched my other Twink video where you're going to be looking for certain items, make sure the boosties are well aware of the items you're looking for that you do want off trash. As well as I'm going to end up charging a substantial amount because I'll be dropping repair bots for these boosties to be vendoring their items they get as well. Next, I'm doing the Ring of Law audience, which is a lot of mobs by itself. Some of them mobs heal. Some of them they like to stop and cast ranged abilities, shadow bolts, fireballs, things like that. Again, I kind of run around the whole outside, and then I bring them back into the room, the Shadowforge door room that I came through earlier, and I missed a pack over here, so I grab it, and then I come down here and LOS right at the top of the ramp, and then I kind of reposition myself towards the top of the ramp, which you'll see right here. And then that's making sure Consecrate hits all the mobs as well. Again, on this specific spot, there's plenty of safe spots. The boosties can be down by the door that you open to this room, kind of right on the outside in the hallway. They'll be in range to gain experience. But again, this is just another really nice spot to kill mobs. So I call this the Phineas room. So if you were to go through the Ring of Law, the audience poll, and went through where the fiery enchant drops, or if you need the Shadowforge Key, this is the guy you're going to have to kill, Phineas. So I call this Phineas room, where you walk up the ramp. Again, you can just see the mob density in Blackrock depths. It's just so high. And I drag it in right above the fire elemental boss. And once I grab all these packs, I start AoEing them down. One thing to always keep in mind while farming Blackrock depths, as mobs get low in health, they like to run away in fear. And if you end up tanking in a spot where they can run and aggro more mobs, they will. And that's not really going to be too big of an issue, but just keep that in mind just in case you do get low in health and you're not sure if you're going to survive for much longer. You don't want them to pull any additional packs. Alright, now we're into the Anger Forge pull, and if for you early phase 1 through, I think 3, this is where your Hand of Justice trinket dropped, and then they moved it to Emperor at a later point. This is one of the more dangerous pulls, because these destroyers, which are the fire elementals, they hurt. That fire damage, that does a lot. So I end up pulling, you want to remember, DPS it all down together. Come really close here, hit trinket. I'm actually on Anger Forge. He has the most health, and you can see like I'm not healing all the way up to full because of how much fire damage I'm taking. So I'll end up bubbling here. I have to heal up, but you always want to keep Consecrate down. You need these mobs to die, so damage is as important as you healing. So before you start casting Holy Lights, make sure you have a fresh Consecrate down.
Looking for a little slap and pickle.
You sure you want to do this, man? You're drunk.
I'm drunk. You're drunk. Everybody's drunk.
There's a scene from one of my favorite movies, Beer Fest. We're in the Grim Guzzler now. So here, there's a vendor in here too. You can actually vendor everything out to the barmaid, or the bartender, excuse me. Don't attack him, and you can talk to him. You'll end up having to talk to him to buy the beer in order to get the door open for the next part as well. Just Consecrate, and I didn't show me pulling the upper part, but again, same thing. You can run up there, just Consecrate the packs, and then pull them down. This final pull is the Flame Lash pull. I just pull the rest of the mobs after the Grim Guzzler all the way down to this boss, target him, and then there are still casters on me. So just over time, either they'll go or you can drag this pack back on top of the casters. But with Flame Lash's health, I usually just sit in AoE until they die. Alright, that pretty much sums up all the areas that I prefer to run. Of course, you can do other areas. You can go all the way to Emperor if you want. You can go Baelgar is the other one. Some of those mobs, like the officers, they've got bubbles, they've got hammers of justice. They're just nasty mobs for a prop paladin. So there are some areas I avoid for those reasons. But again, if you're farming specific things, or if you're helping people with certain quests, feel free. A paladin can solo pretty much anything in BRD. They just gotta shorten up the pulls or modify how they farm. But that'll wrap this video up, and I look forward to making the next video for you guys. Thanks for watching.